Okay, so we're all set with the recording. We should be good to go. So I will call this regular meeting of the Public Site and Building Commission to order at 7:01. You'll please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you, everyone. So going along with our agenda and the public input. I don't see much public, so move on to correspondence. Everything that I have, and I believe everything that anyone else has, is part of our documents, et cetera, that we will be reviewing as part of different project business. So approval of meeting minutes. I will make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes of February 12, 2025.
Second.
Roger's got a second. One thing I noticed, Kathy, probably a typo. You have them there?
Yep.
There was a, I'll have to go back to them. I didn't print them, but SES, I think you wrote SED. I think it's just a,
Okay.
yeah, just you make that correction. And I don't, if anybody else has anything they noticed that needs correcting or updating. Otherwise, I think we're good. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I think Dave Horvath has to abstain. Right? Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So just a little bit of housekeeping, I guess you could say. I think we're doing okay with everybody on the screen as far as the feedback issue we were having last time. Everybody's good? Not getting feedback? Yeah, good. So I'll just quickly go through who's in the room and who's on screen so everybody knows who everybody is. So here, Roger Young,
Yeah.
I'm Nancy Ryan, Dave Resendis, Jeff Bucklenba, all from Public Site. Kathy Galvis, our recording secretary. You can't see the other two people, but Jack Grace is our IT person. He was fiddling around with the microphones, et cetera, from what was happening last week. They had added a microphone, but moved it closer to the TV. And I think that's where the feedback was coming. So now microphones are a little closer. You hear fine. We hear you fine. That might be resolving the issue. Also with us is Town Attorney Melanie O'Brien, who's, I don't know if you're staying the whole time or if you've got anything for us. Okay. Yeah, so we might have a few questions to ask Melanie as we move through a couple of the projects. And then on Google Meets, also Public Site, David Olson, David Horvath, and Tom Cardillo. And then from Board of Ed, Jen Varial, and Tyler Stevens. And then Rick Davido from STV. That's everybody, right? And then my screen is up there because I might screen share a little bit later. So a couple of things. The questions have come up recently about emails and how to sign in, et cetera, et cetera. So if Jack can help us while we're all here, he will. If not, we might have to just email back and forth, et cetera. So David Resendis didn't get the invite, which was weird. He got the following email that had the documents attached that Kathy sent. So Kathy will, the week before the meeting, Kathy will send an invite separately, just the invite. And then she follows with a second email, not the same email, not attached to that thread, she starts with the agenda and the meeting minutes. Those are the two documents she will always send. If she has received any other things that need to be shared with us, she will also attach those. And then I'll jump in if I have things, like I sent the STV invoice, I sent the Pannoni proposal, and the change order for alternate number 2, all of those things which we're going to review tonight and deal with if we have as needed. Okay. So those are all the different, and then we also were going to look at a budget, but that didn't get sent out quickly enough. So we're just, Rick will share that later on with us. So I am going to actually do, I'm not sure if I can, I'm going to screen share. So I am looking at, there it is. So when Kathy sends the invite out and I open it, this is what I see. I don't know if everybody sees it the same way, and I don't know if I can make it bigger.
I do.
I made it a little bit bigger. There we go. So it has all the emails. It has the yes, maybe, no, and you can see the yes is green because I clicked that.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody gets it that way or whether it shows up differently. You don't know. You
Well, even that subject, when it says invitation, I don't have that email anywhere in my Gmail.
really, and not even from before or the last time or
I've never gotten one that looks like that. That says invitation on it. I always get the
Okay.
one that says documents.
documents.
review.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Do you have
bizarre.
another email? Or is that your only email?
I do have another one, but it's not a Gmail.
But maybe you can get back to me and let's try adding that on
Okay.
the list to see if that.
So anybody have any problems as when you open this, you can see it. The green, I clicked yes. Over, actually, I'm moving it around, but you can't see me moving around. The blue thing that says join with Google Meets, that's how I get on.
Yep.
It has all the details as I'm scrolling here. I think I can get it to, no, it's not yet. It's scrolling on the screen. I can also, which is what I always do, right below where it says PSBC meeting and then the date, it says view on Google Calendar. And when I do that, I don't know if it'll do it. That's not. Anyways, it opens up the list of invitees for me. And then I can see who has clicked yes, who has clicked maybe, and who has clicked no, and who hasn't at all. That I do that because I need to know if we're going to have a quorum or not. And then I can also see who else is going to attend. And if I think someone needs to, like if Rick didn't check, yes, he's attending, I'd be like, well, wait, we need an invite from, or a update from Rick. Let me check in with him. Or if Jen says she's not attending, but she doesn't really have anything that we need to get from her, then I'm not too concerned. But I usually keep up with,
Is this what you're looking for? So
yeah.
when we get
so
that,
that's what you get. Yeah.
and then you say yes or no.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would click.
Yes.
Yeah, I get the same thing. Dave, is your email address on that?
I
Yeah,
can
it
get
is.
it at the bottom.
See?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I say yes.
I would.
So maybe it's different. I don't know.
You are.
Well, it looks different
I'm
on
on
his
there, yeah.
phone, and sometimes it does look different on a phone.
When
So-
you sent it to me the second time,
Yeah.
I got it.
Huh.
You sent it to me.
Yes. but
That's, we
I,
gotta
don't
look
get, I
into
never
that.
get the original.
Does it go to like your
So,
junk mail
I
or
don't-
something or spam?
No, it's like
It's not, he looked in his spam, so,
Yeah.
and then it has the whole list of who's coming, and then at the bottom it says, you can click yes or no, et cetera. All right.
I'll just try to make it happen.
Yeah.
Another email. I'll just see if I can make the
Yeah.
same thing happen. If I can, figure out where the issue
Yeah.
lies, but it just feels like a core guy.
Yeah,
It sounds
I'm
like
not,
it's
I'm not worried
explainable
about
at
it.
this
I always
point.
know when the meetings are. so
Yeah.
it's not-
Because it doesn't get kicked back to you that it didn't send or
No.
anything. So.
No,
But that's why it's just give me your other email
Yeah.
and we'll try putting that on there.
Yeah.
too, as long as you don't mind.
Yeah,
And then we'll
okay.
just see what happens.
so then, Rick, if you clicked on that join with Google Meet blue thing, is that what you were doing last week and you couldn't get in?
Exactly. And I did the same thing today and I got in fine with my other computer.
Oh, okay. Well, again, as I said, you might want to check with other people who, from STV who've attended, like Mark, or
Yeah, I'll check with Mark or Gerald and see
see,
what
like,
they
is
got.
there some kind of internal thing that might need to get turned on or off in your computer? I
Right.
was saying, what, 2 years ago or so, I wasn't hearing anything from Geraldine, and then she emailed me a month later and said, I just found all your emails in the trash. So there was some kind of internal setting that, who knows?
Yeah.
And when we first started out with, I think it was the training range, there were several STV people who were not getting the emails from the town. And there was some internal thing that had to happen to make sure they got there. So,
Yeah, no, I've gotten the invitations and I've gotten the documents as well. So
okay. All right. So then again, if you're getting them, great. If you're not, let us know. We'll see if there's something that Jack can help us with. Again, it'll be what the heading on this one you can see on the screen says invitation, PSBC meeting, and then the date. That comes first from Kathy. Okay. Mostly it'll come from Kathy. If Kathy's not around or she's not going to be around, either I'll do it or she'll show me how, or someone else, one of the other recording secretaries will take care of it. And then, like I said, the second email, which I guess I can put up there, I'm going to stop sharing. The second email that comes says documents. So it shows, and what ends up happening, if you reply to either of those emails, if you reply to all, it becomes a whole thread, and you have to go back to the first email to find the invitation or to find the documents. Just so you know that. Okay. And then I think that's probably it for now. So Roger just sent me his other email. Jeff can send it. We'll put both emails on the list. You can
Yeah.
put both of yours
Yeah, that's
on
fine, yeah.
and see which one comes in, which one doesn't. We'll keep troubleshooting. We're going to keep Jack on his toes, right?
That's fine. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, I think that's good. Does anybody else have any other either issues or questions with documents being sent out? I know we still need to work on getting a couple people into the shared drive. So again, we're going to use those Gmail addresses, which I will then send to Jen, and between she or Dr. Carver or whoever else will get us into the shared drive if you need to go and look at documents there.
I think I had a
Yeah, I
request.
can add you. If you have it doesn't have to be a Gmail address, but it needs to be an email associated with a Google account. But if you create a Gmail account, that works as well. So I can add people.
Yeah, and I was able to get in. So Jen, you hooked me up last week, and actually Dr. Carver did as well, in the same time. So I've been in the drive updating some things today. So.
Yeah, I saw that you were added. I think Tom was added and David was added. I saw on a list of people added. So we'll get everybody in there at some point. Make sure you have access. If the nice thing about it is that if you wanted to review documents that we might have as a commission reviewed 2 months ago, a contract or whatever, you get in there and you can see everything. We just have to, between Rick and I, we have to keep, and Jen too, keep everything updated whenever we get some new documents or a proposal or whatever that's approved. We want to get it in there so everybody can see it. Okay. So we have a couple of things that we're going to need to look at, review, and approve. Some of them might just be a formality kind of thing. But Rick, do you want to start with an update?
Sure. Yeah, let me give you an update, and I'll probably, through the update, touch on a couple of those things, Nancy, but we'll kind of work our way through it. So we've been progressing with meetings with Save More every other week. So we had one just yesterday with the team, with Jen and Tyler and Save More and the principal and number of folks that are in the day-to-day operations, if you will, of what's going on at the high school. So Save More has been sending their electricians in, their HVAC folks and plumbers and things into the school, beginning I think last Tuesday. Not yesterday, but a week ago, Tuesday, and just doing their discovery, making penetrations, not making penetrations, but marking out their penetrations, and trying to match up the plans with the actual on-site, what's in the school. So that's been happening. They have run into some conflicts, minor conflicts thus far, which we've talked with the engineers about, and they're going to next week have a sit-down meeting with all their vendors to talk about any inconsistencies with what their plan is and what's on the plans, come up with some workarounds, and anything that needs to happen. We'll get Colorado involved to see what we can do about any problem solving to move forward. So that's going forward. They did submit the letter to the state. They did come back with asking just for the letter that Dr. Carver sent out to the parents to see what was going with that, and they hope to hear back at the end of this week with the final go ahead on the notification to the state for abatement. All right. I did ask Save More to supply us with a change order for alternate number 2, which is basically adding the bathroom fans in the school. So that you'll see in a little bit. Might kind of go over the budget, but I did add that extra 120,000. And I think Melanie, you're in the room, so we did come up with there was they're targeting. We've agreed that they are still going to target the same end date for substantial completion, which is the September 30th, but it may run out as many as 20 days to the middle of October. But for right now, we are still targeting getting in everything done within the same schedule, which they submitted on February 4th. Okay. Also, we have a submittal that has come through in regard to the abatement, which we needed to. All the submittals have been going to Cole Ronan, and they've been very good about turning those around and getting them back in a timely manner to Save More. So there's no holdups there. But there is one in regard to the abatement, which they do not handle. So you'll see in the documents there was a proposal from Benoni, and which Tyler had obtained for them to review the document. Now this isn't just a 2 or 10 page document; it's actually over a 300 page document that they're reviewing. And it all has to do with the abatement certifications and the way that they need to handle their abatement and any materials that they're taking away. So that's coming up as well. And I believe that's it. There we did talk about having a Connex box delivered, which will probably happen next week, and Tyler will be integral with. I think it's Joe that's on site, Tyler, and Jay when they deliver that. So we make sure that it's in the proper location and after the school buses come, so there's no conflict there. And I believe the other item that we have is SES. So the SES contract, to my knowledge, has not been quite executed yet, but you'll see when I'm able to share. I don't know if you want me to share it now, Nancy, but we can kind of take a look at the budget, and you'll see that I did add SES's number in there just so we have a full understanding of where we stand with, even though it's not executed, with full understanding where we are with the dollars.
Sure. If you want to put the budget up, I also have a couple more that I printed. If anybody wants to look at one. You guys could-
Yes, please, I'll take that.
So this is different than the one that's on.
Partially executed.
Okay.
The only change that they made that we sort of resist, but we tried to get a 60-day payment, 60 days escape from data, given our request for payment.
Okay.
And they said they can't live with any more than 45 days.
That's the end.
So that'll
Okay.
be.
So that was the only, it was partially executed, and we'll be able to sign it once we get an insurance certificate.
Okay. So he's going to share. So Kathy made you co-host, so you can also now share. So you have to, at the bottom, you got to click on the
Little arrow.
arrow up.
Yeah. So let
And
me.
you got to pick something to share. So you have to have. I've found that having it open ahead of time. So
Yeah, I
that
have
you
it open now, but then once I open that, I'll minimize it.
it's kind of annoying because it's different than Zoom, but
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh?
They have to be
So
different.
it's on here too.
Of course they have to be different. They all have to be different.
It was the 120 was talking about. That's this.
Yeah, I have it open, but it's not coming up.
So if you click on the thing that you want to share,
So that's what that. So we have enough money
Then-
for that also.
then you click at the bottom, it says share, and then you click that, it should come up.
Yeah.
I recommend sharing your full screen. It just makes it really easier.
Yeah, it'll ask you if you want to share your full screen or just the window or the tab. But if you say entire screen and you have the thing open,
Yeah. hold
I'm
on.
not going to do it because then it'll take over what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That January, whatever. You should add it now.
Do you want me to share it?
Yeah.
I found it in the drive.
Okay, if you could, yeah, it's the one I posted. So if you have it,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
I have it too, if you need it. There we go. Yay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so you see what we have with the budget here. You kind of look down to the base contract under where it says items and description. We have the construction total for the initial contract of $3,742,500. And then I added the alternate number 2 in there for the updated total on that. So I don't have it. You can scroll up a little bit on that, Jennifer, Jen. So then with the other owner's expenses there, that $9,450 is actually the insurance, the USI insurance that we approved last week, as well as the additional monies for the Pannoni, which I've kind of put in there. I know it's not approved yet, but kind of put in there for now, which leaves us with the total committed at $4,047,041. So really the owner's contingency remaining after, if all this gets approved, of $132,959 in the budget. And that includes, if we scroll down to the bottom, that includes the STV, the Kohler-Ronan, and the $28,000 in for commissioning agent for SES.
Okay, so we'll deal with the Pannoni agreement because we did approve amount not to exceed 2,000, but the actual proposal is a little less than that. So
Correct.
we'll do that. So that'll get changed in the next budget report, which we don't need a budget report every time. Maybe
Yeah,
once,
once a
yeah.
month. I'll probably give it to you every other meeting if that works for everyone.
Right, yep. And then, like last time we did the builder's risk, that's a one-time thing. We don't have any more on that. And then commissioning, we're working through. So Melanie said that the SES contract is partially executed. So do you want to say that so everybody can hear it?
Yes, sure. So we just got back partially executed agreement. And the only change that they insisted upon was 45 days payment time from their request for payment. We usually try 60 days with these building projects. So we're just going to have to be aware that we're going to have to process those payments a little bit more quickly. So we have to get an insurance certificate from them and get that reviewed. So I expect that will be executed early next week.
Okay. And we'll just need to let them know that, that when they get invoiced, make sure that they send their invoices to the right people so
Right.
that we can then bring
Right.
them to a meeting and process them in the proper order. So,
Right.
okay,
Exactly. I'll make sure.
great. But I think if it goes to Rick, Jen, and whoever's the chair, then we're all gonna get, STV, someone from Board of Ed, and whoever's public site chair at the time. Then we'll make sure it gets into the meeting documents and gets taken care of at the next meeting. And Jen, the turnaround time with finance is, I think, great. My understanding is that we actually are pretty quick compared to a lot of other municipalities as far as with building projects, getting invoices and applications for payment taken care of. So does anybody have any other questions or comments on this budget update? So the 132,000, almost 133 is basically what we have in our owner's contingency at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Do we expect anything else coming in?
We never expect it.
Something's gonna happen.
Well, that Rick, if anything and Rick or Jen or Tyler, anything expected?
No, like I said, there's some, inconsistencies, if you will. Just there have to be some workarounds, but it's in the field, and it doesn't necessarily mean that because we're doing something a little bit differently that there's going to be additional cost. But depending on what that is, we'll know a lot more in the next couple of weeks.
Generally, if it's something that's in scope, it should be taken care of
Right.
by the contractor, construction manager, et cetera. If it's out of scope and then we end up with a change order, we discuss it and decide whether we think it should be approved or not. So hopefully not. So let's do this. Let's do, and Rick, you said you took this change order proposal number 1, which is alternate 2, and that is in the Save More amount right now on this budget report, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's 120,000.
So let's do this first. We're going to do the Pannoni. I'll make a motion, then we can discuss it. I make a motion that we approve the Pannoni agreement for limited environmental services. That's what it says at the top. For the asbestos transmittal documentation review in the amount of $1,680.
Second.
Dave Resendez seconds. This is signed by Pannoni, and once it's accepted, we'll have to have it signed by Dan since it's a contract with the town. So, as I said, at our last meeting, we did approve an amount not to exceed 2,000. This is a little less than that, so that's great. Thank you, Tyler, for being back and forth with them to make sure we get what we need for a reasonable amount. Question I have, and a couple other people are asking the same, have they started the review yet, or are they waiting for this?
They're waiting for us to tell them that they are approved to move forward.
Okay,
I spoke to them just this afternoon. They're ready to review it as soon as we tell them to move forward, but I wasn't
Okay.
sure where we stood. So
okay. Do you need to review this?
I do, and once you approve it, I will have Dan sign it. We had a motion made at last night's meeting, or the second meeting,
Okay,
to authorize Dan to sign this type of thing that comes up, these kind of minor type of adjustments, as long as it's approved by all of you,
Yep.
by the commission.
Right.
They're within the project budget and
Mhm.
reasonably necessary for completion of the project.
Correct.
Because otherwise, you had a meeting last night, you had your meeting, then there's no other independent authorization,
Right,
right,
right.
for this. So then we end up with this waiting period
Right,
where we have to get a special meeting. So when these things come up, we're hoping to be a little bit more flexible and able to move more quickly.
Good. Okay.
So that's the intention.
yeah, great.
Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you, Melanie.
Sure.
Yeah. So now, once they do their review, does it have to go to the state or does someone have to tell the state, yes, they reviewed it, everything's good? What's the continuing process with this?
No, it's just a submittal. It's more of a double check. It's just a submittal, and if they're okay with it, they can just move forward with that as is.
And basically, their proposal is to review the document that was submitted by the contractor, that's a contractor to Save More, separate from the people who are doing the abatement and doing the testing. This is the takeaway disposal part.
Correct.
And I know it's hundreds of pages, yet I'm guessing it might be something that Pannoni has reviewed in the past. It might be a lot of boilerplate. Hopefully they can get through it pretty quickly, because it would be nice to get that settled. So we have something in place knowing where everything's going and how it's being disposed of.
I just got a quick question. Does that mean that the abatement did not start on the 21st like it was on the schedule?
I think the markouts were,
Well, it said on the schedule
Well,
that
no.
the start date was the 21st.
You're correct. You're correct. It did not start as of
How far back is that
that
gonna
date.
put us?
I'm sorry.
How far back do you think this is all going to put us? What do you think that start date's going to be now?
It'll probably be another week.
Another week?
Yeah, but I don't. They were. If you look at the schedule, they were doing their penetrations and things as they were doing the abatement.
Yeah.
So there's time in there for catch up. And what I'm going to be asking them to do is update their schedule for next month. leaving the end dates alone, but updating the schedule to find out how we're going to get to the same date with any little idiosyncrasies and changes to the front end of the schedule. And I'm also what we're doing for the schools is having right now a weekly look ahead schedule for them, so they know exactly where the work's going to be done. The abatement will be done on a weekly basis. And anything that may change by a day, or we're taking room 132 today and not tomorrow, kind of thing, will be updated accordingly. Because time, if they're moving forward a little quicker, that's great. But we want to be able to be prepared for them to get in those spaces. So we're going to keep the lines of communication open.
And once we approve this, I can hand it to Melanie, who will bring it to Dan. So hopefully that'll move things along more quickly. Because I was going to bring it to him, and then it has to get filed with the town clerk and scanned and uploaded and all that. So
Them, at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So
okay, all right, good.
And just to be clear, the submittal review with Pannoni isn't actually holding up the abatement work yet. We're still waiting on that approval from the state before that abatement can start.
Correct.
And is that connected with the letter that Rick was talking about? That letter goes out to parents?
Yeah, the state wanted to see that Dr. Carver had sent out a letter as proof that the communication had been made.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Does anybody have anything? So the budget's still up there. If you needed me to screen share the Pannoni thing, I can. Otherwise, it all went out to you, so hopefully you looked at it, checked it out. It should be good with it. Anybody need it up on the screen? Does anybody have any more questions or comments on this before we vote? Okay, so we're voting on the motion to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Motion carries. So I did, Melanie, just so you know, and I usually do this, I put that we approved it. If you need the minutes attached, you'll have to wait to get them to Kathy, but if the recording's good enough or whatever. So I'll make sure you get this before we leave. And then the other that we need to look at, and we'll do an approval of it, even though it's kind of been approved, it had to be officially made a change order. So alternate number 2, once we figured out that we were able to have that become part of the project going along with the budget, we needed to get an official change order proposal from Save More, which we have, and that was sent out to everyone. So I will make a motion that we approve change order proposal number 1 on the Save More proposal. It's called 240055-1. Save More Cooling and Heating for alternate number 2 in the amount of, is it the 120? Yeah, $120,000.
Second.
So we got a second from whoever said second. Dave Olson. Okay. So now discussion and any other input that anybody has on this.
So Dave kind of explained it to me. So it was alternate 2 is adding the HVAC to the bathrooms or something. Like what is alternate 2? Just because being new to the commission, I'm not familiar with the initial.
So it's fans. I don't know if it's any
Fans,
more
okay.
than, Rick, is it more than fans in the bathrooms
What is-
or?
Yeah, it's predominantly the fans in the bathrooms and to get the exhaust out.
Okay.
And then Melanie has something, I
I
think.
just had a question. So
Okay.
is that change order under contract time will be increased by this change order? Did you say 20 days or 45 days?
They talked back and forth and got it to 20.
Right.
So that their date of substantial completion now is still end of September, correct, Rick?
No, actually,
Yeah, well, we're targeting end of September, but contractually it could go into the middle of the 20th of October.
I want to be sure the approval is that the contract time will be increased by 20 days, not 45.
Yeah, because it says it on it. So I can include that in my motion. So if I amend my motion to include that the contract time will be increased by no more than 20 days. Okay. And who are, Dave Olson seconded it. I think he's good with it. And then again, this will go, it's been signed by Save More, it's been signed by Kohler Ronan. So it will go to Dan for signature also. But I believe that the Board of Selectmen already did an approval of this at a previous meeting to get the
Yes.
change order in
He's-
progress.
He's authorized to sign contracts as well as change orders. So
Yeah.
he's already authorized to sign that.
Okay. Any more on this? Can we vote? Yes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're good to go. Okay. I'll just sign this one too. And then the only other thing I believe that we have, unless anybody has any other questions, yeah,
STV.
well, we got the invoice, but before we do the
Oh.
invoice, anybody have any other questions or comments on the project? So Rick, you said you're meeting, that you're doing team meetings every 2 weeks? Is that what's been
Correct.
happening? Okay. And then what are we expecting as far as, I know we get monthly invoices from STV. We're going to get monthly invoices from Kohler Ronan. And Kohler Ronan did mention that with the possible extra days with change order number 1, which is alternate number 2, their price is not going to increase. STV has said they don't think theirs is either. I don't think commissioning will, because they don't start till it's time for them to start. So it's not, they're increasing their time frame.
Their substantial completion date is actually end of November.
End of November in the contract,
In the
or
contract. And I believe the reason is that the commissioning goes beyond the completion.
Yes,
actually
it
of the
does.
project.
Yeah,
So
it's a substantial completion date that we're talking about in September and October.
but Melly's now saying it's
Yeah, it's-
November.
I'm talking about the commission agent contract.
Oh, yes, yes.
That one,
They have a different date.
Yeah, and
is
that's
longer.
different, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to go beyond,
Yeah.
once everything's up and running,
yes, that's-
and then they do some seasonal changes
Yeah,
or
and the
checks
grant-
too.
Grant, everything has to be done by December.
Yes.
right?
Right. We have to probably expend all the money by that
And
point.
invoice it all.
Yes, right. So we'll have to keep on top of invoices as we get into that
Mm-hmm.
fall period, make sure we get them. All right, so
Yeah.
let's, go ahead.
And we did receive a pencil rec from Save More for their February billing, application number 2, but I haven't sent their comments back on that yet. So we'll have another invoice from them at the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll have at that meeting, which is beginning of March at some point, we'll probably be looking at that. It's March 12th. Okay.
Right.
And we may have other invoices too. So we'll see, we'll sort of get into see what the patterns are as far as invoices. If we're getting them all around the same time, maybe we just do them all at the same meeting if there's not an issue with their payment dates. So invoice STV, I will make a motion that we approve STV invoice number 900333475. Invoice dated February 20th, 2025 for the month of January in the amount of $5,310.90.
Second.
Second from Dave Olson. I did send it out, so it has the additional pages as to who was doing what, when, where, etc. So that's all spelled out. Any questions on this or comments? Good to go? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Okay, so I think that's it for the HVAC, unless anybody has any other comments or questions for anyone here. I'm signing things because I don't know if Melanie is going to want to leave once we're done. Okay, because if we're done, we probably will move on to our next agenda item. So school peeps, if you're nothing else and we don't need anything else, thank you so much. Public site people, stick around because we have a couple more things to do.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, thank you. So you want to take these, please? Okay. So once they're signed by Dan, it would be good to have somebody upload them and either give them to Rick or me or both of us so that they can be put on the shared drive.
Okay, sure.
And then they have to be filed with the town clerk.
Correct.
If you need me to do any of that, let me
No,
know.
I
Okay.
usually just hand them off to the town clerk, the originals, but I will definitely email them to
Yeah.
you and Rick.
Yeah.
When they're fully executed.
Yes,
just so you have them.
definitely. So you have
You can-
signatures,
yeah.
they go on the shared
Yeah,
drive. That
that's
would,
fine.
thank you so much.
Happy to do that.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, so next on the agenda is municipal center locker room renovation. So where we are right now is the meeting that we had, that you came to too, we all looked at the area with BMP and Gordian. Gordian and BMP have made a proposal to the town that they use the process, which is, as I said, it's a whole interesting state contract process, to come up with the initial proposal is going to be, how much is it going to cost to have plans updated? Okay, start with that. Okay, so there was some back and forth between Jay Metcalf of BMP and Rachel Park and Rec and me in there somewhere, because they were looking for plans for the entire building, which do exist at the building department. And Chris Baldwin we got him in on it too, and he was able to share an electronic set of the plans for the entire building. So the plans for that end of the building, where from like the GP room on down to the gym, where the work's going to happen, existing plans plus what was proposed initially are easily gotten through Architects Guild. However, they wanted the whole building so they could look at, is there some, and I'm sure everybody's had to deal with this, the number of things like toilets and sinks and whatever is not just based on that section, it's based on the whole entire building. So how many toilets exist in the entire building will give us the number that we're going to need in that little area. So they're working on that. Jay Metcalf of BMP did get the plans from Chris Baldwin. That's the last I heard. So hopefully maybe our next meeting, we might get something together as far as what's it going to cost to complete these updated plans, given the ideas that we came up with, that actually Rachel came up with, and Peter Eckert of Architects Guild helped us get those initial sketches together. Now we need actual construction documents, plans, specs, et cetera, et cetera. How much is it going to cost to get that stuff in place? Because once we have that in place, it would all go out to bid. But if it could be done through Gordian, we don't need to do the RFP process. And in the meantime, if there's grants available or anything, then we'll take advantage of those. Any questions on, there's nothing else. I don't have any documents. I don't have invoices or any of that. Good. And then the training range. The only thing is that I'm still trying to find a person who will give me an answer as far as ESC. Last time we approved the final invoice from ESC. It had been sent, I don't know to who. It was dated April. I didn't get it till last month. So it was floating around somewhere. Maybe it went to finance. Sometimes when we don't create a clear line of communication, so to speak, on a project, if the company does other work with the town, the invoices sometimes get sent wherever, and then we have to chase them down, or they get sent around, and then finally, sometimes as it happens, someone gives them to Kathy, because Kathy's like, if nobody knows what to do with stuff, they give them to Kathy. And then sometimes she can figure it out, or she gives them to me and I figure it out. So again, the initial contract that we had with ESC to do all the controls, the last invoice was completing that part. Separate from that, we had ESC do that update to the regulator, that's the whole gas line thing that I explained last time. That was a separate amount, 3,600, something like that. I don't want to close say the project's closed out and then in 3 months an invoice shows up. So I'm trying to find, I've asked the question of several people that I have email addresses for at ESC. I haven't gotten replies. So I'm going to check in with a couple people at STV who are working on it and see if they have a person I know that I can get. Somebody did this work. So out there somewhere is an invoice floating around. I want to find it. And that's pretty much it with the range. I don't think once we get that set, we still have about $4,500. I didn't do a budget update yet because I'm still waiting for this invoice. Still have about $4,500 in contingency, which is a good thing. So any other questions or anything anybody has? As I said, next meeting would be March 12th. We did have some questions earlier in the month as to whether, like early last week, whether we needed to meet tonight or not, and I wasn't getting enough input from people. So we decided to meet. It was a good thing we did because we had things to do. What I would like to avoid is if we don't have decisions to make or invoices to approve, and it's just getting an update, we don't need to meet on any of the projects that we not have a meeting. But we'll keep you apprised of that.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, but
Well, if things come in, you could always put them on the shared drive. You know, you
Yes.
could say, look at the shared drive.
Yeah.
We could talk about it the following, but this is something
if it's an
Yeah.
invoice that needs to be done in a timely fashion, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Or if there's things we need to approve or things that we really need to know, I would have a meeting. If it's just going to be an update saying, yep, work's getting done,
Yeah.
drag everybody out.
Make it productive, right?
Yeah, definitely productive is a good word. Yeah, thanks. All right, so I think that's it. So who wants to be John Menti tonight?
I'll be John Mente.
Second.
You got to make the motion though, David.
I make the motion that this meeting be adjourned.
Second.
David Wilson seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Thank you so much,
Have a good night.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night,
Glad
everyone.
we're working out our glitches here with technology and everything else.
Yeah, you need my other email address, right?